Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Pink Print Pod. Today we are sitting down with a very fun special guest. He was not supposed to be here. However, he walked in as soon as we were about to record, and I actually thought he fit this topic. You have to talk close to the mic.
Sorry. This topic
perfectly. So today we're going to be talking about when we're in a season of more stillness and how you can still keep your head down while grinding. I think he's such a good person to talk through this with because we're both in sales positions. However, they're so different because he's in an industry where he's selling a lot every single day, and real estate is obviously, not like that. In a perfect world it would be, but it's not. And I know for me, sorry, I saw a crazy balloon floating in there. For me, a lot of the time when I get home and I'm frustrated about work and they're sad about not selling. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that'll be a good sign.
It's a good sign. Yeah, that's why I'm laughing. I come home to you, obviously my roommate, and I'm usually crying to you about it. And
just getting some things off your chest.
But you have a lot of really good advice about that because you are used to doing so many different transactions all the time that you've been able to work through these emotions quicker, I think. And Riley is also a manager of a team, so he has 9 people with these emotions coming at him every day. So I think he's grown a lot in this position, and he knows how to manage a team. And you're basically a therapist, how to manage all
pretty
these
much. Honestly, I'd say that's 95% of my job at this point.
Yeah, in a work environment. So we want to talk to you today about how to keep going through the slow season and what to do when growth isn't so loud and in your face, because life isn't a sprint, it's a marathon.
That's exactly right.
So we like to say, you're not behind, you're just in your winter. What does that phrase mean to you?
To me?
Yeah.
I'd say that's a time where you get to work on yourself. I'd say being from Boston, everybody in the winter would really work on their summer body so that when the things came around, you're ready to go. So no, winter's a time when you really work on yourself before getting into that season where stuff really matters. And I think for this topic, sales specifically, or whatever industry you're in, it's some time that you can work on your craft a little bit. So
do you agree that even in your industry, in your field, there are cycles? And there are moments that you're selling way more than others?
I'd say that right now I'm in a winter.
Oh, cool.
So this
same.
is
perfect. Same.
Yeah, so I'd say I'd say
April is still fucking winter.
Yeah.
No, I'd say that this is it's funny that you guys are asking me that right now because I'm at work, and I'd say the past 2 or 3 weeks we just finished our Q1, quarter 1. So we just finished out, had a great quarter.
Gas yourself up. Talk about the great quarter.
Yeah, we were one of 3 teams out of about 15 or 16 to hit our goal in my specific organization. I think one of about 10 teams across our entire company to hit their goal. So that was coming off a high, but now going right into Q2, it's okay, everybody's pretty burnt out from quarter 1. You can't really keep calling your partners because it's such a transactional thing where everybody's just beat up a little bit. So you kind of have to go back to the drawing board. You have to really, I'd say, go back to fundamentals, and you can't really go such a sales heavy as when you're in the end of the quarter trying to hit your number, where you're calling these people all the time, trying to just get sales across the board. Everybody just needs a break. So that's when, as a team right now, I have 10 people under me looking at, okay, what can we be doing in a slower period to just really better equip us for when stuff starts to ramp up again. So
what are you guys doing? What are you telling your team?
Yeah, I'd say right now for example, I focus a lot on individual coaching. So right now it's a lot on the individual level, seeing after a quarter where people are wanting to go with their this quarter, what number is their goal, how we're going to find a path to get there, and really mapping out exactly the things needed that we need to do from a personal level and professional level to hit those goals. So this is really a time when we're just mapping out our quarter before it gets busy again.
What about when somebody on your team comes to you and they're not launching, they're not selling, they're not achieving? How do you motivate them or discipline them to keep going and stay at this company, stay on this team, and get them to sell eventually?
I'd say, honestly, I had probably my personal experience has helped a lot with.
You can say a personal story about that.
Yeah, when I started off in sales, it was my first real sales role. I sold Christmas trees when I was growing up. So like that was pretty much the brunt of my sales experience.
I didn't know you were
like,
going to say that.
Yeah, like getting into an actual corporate selling role, I came from a finance background, so like I didn't really know how to get into customer facing stuff and really go through negotiations and all that stuff. And I probably had 6 or 7 months where I wasn't really selling, and I focused a lot on my processes and making sure that like gaining good feedback from my higher ups and making sure that I was doing the right actions day over day, because I knew that would eventually turn into success. So when it comes to certain people who aren't seeing the success, and I go through a lot of this with people who are probably fresh out of college, this is their first sales job, or somebody who came from a completely different industry, it's like, okay, I'll give you the processes and the things that you can do on a day-to-day basis that I know will be successful. And obviously it looks different for every person, but going back to the fundamentals of like, you keep doing this and you focus on the little wins, where whether it's like booking a meeting or like getting a new lead, certain things like this where it's focusing on small wins, because those will tally up into the bigger wins. So with people like that, it's, you kind of have to zoom out and understand like, hey, just because you're not seeing success through numbers right now, that doesn't mean you're not successful. Like,
or you're planting the seeds.
Exactly.
To then
Like it's really cringy, but like, and I told her this all the time. I
told her this all the time.
I told my girlfriend. I used to have this quote on my computer screen. It's called the Stonecutter's Creed, and it's basically like it's not one single silver bullet that's gonna like show you success. It's all the groundwork that you did before that. So it's basically like, there's a stonecutter hammering away at his rock perhaps 1,000 times. It's not the 1,001st blow that did it, it's the 1,000 that gone before. So I'm like, all right, if I can focus on being 1% better every day, I know that eventually it'll be success. And sales is such an industry where there's going to be a lot of highs and a lot of lows, and you have to stay level-headed through that whole thing. And you'll get there at some point if you're doing the right things.
What do you tell yourself to stay level-headed? Like, if you just feel maybe sometimes emotional or in a dump, what's like an affirmation or something that you do to just pick yourself back up again and like be neutral and balanced?
I mean, there's obviously times when I walk into the office and I feel like I can't stop selling, and there's also other times where I'm like, I can't sell, anything right now. Like, I think when I hit those times, that's when I zoom out and honestly, I'll take a step back, I'll go for a walk, I'll do like something to take my mind off and be like, I knew this going into sales, there's going to be ebbs and flows in the business. As long as I know that and can take myself out of stressful moments, like, I'm going to be okay. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Like, I'd say conceptually, I used to think about, okay, I didn't bring in any money this week. Like, what am I doing wrong? What the fuck is happening? Like, can I swear? Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was like, yeah, what's happening right now? Like, am I doing the right things? And I'd start freaking out a little bit. Then I started to realize, like, okay, my quota is actually yearly. I could do 90% of my number in December and hit my yearly quota. So, like, I have 12 months to work at this. If I am using 3 or 4 of these months and don't have like the success that I want, completely normal. It's not sustainable to be successful 12 months out of the year. Like, just not going to happen. You got to know that going into sales. So I'd say, like, I always have to have constant reminders to myself for that type of stuff, that it's a marathon, not a sprint. Because I saw that for myself. I hit 80% of my number in 2 months and hit my yearly quota when I didn't have sightline to that going into Q4 of the final quarter of the year. So being able to see that firsthand definitely helped, but now it helps that I can tell that experience to 10 other people who are under me. So I just have to remind people, it's like the business ebbs and flows. You can't stress about one moment.
Do you get a number like from the company, or do you set up your sales goal?
Yeah, so I have a quota from the company every quarter. So for example, it's all based on tenure, book of business, everything of just like, hey, here's your number. For example, I just got my quota for this quarter. It's $1 million. Now I have to go figure out, okay, across 8 people, how are we going to bring in $1 million?
Wait, just quickly, $1 million. Like, how much is your product? Like, how much do you actually have to sell to hit $1 million?
The average sale price for each transaction is $5,000.
Okay.
So I basically need every rep to hit give or take $125,000 to $150,000. When I looked at that from my last quarter, we did a little bit under $800,000 with the same team. Same accounts, nothing changes. So now, like, a lot of people, when they get that, they're like, I'm fucked. Like, how am I going to go? Like, we just hit goal last quarter. My quota went up by 200K. How does this make sense? That's where some people start to panic. I looked at that, been through it before, didn't stress. Now it's, okay, now I have to go into pathfinding. This is my number. I need to reverse engineer and, like, see how I can get there. Maybe month 1, we have to do 30% of our number because I know that's a slower month. You can't expect to do this crazy number. Month 2, we're going to do 40% of our number. Month 3, we're going to do another 40%, or however it shakes out. But based on what I have in my pipeline right now, based on number of different factors, it's like, okay, to my team, this might be a scary number too. Like, to their individual levels, people panic a little bit. Once you start to, like, really find the path and start to put things together, and it's like, okay, if we can do $3,000 a week. Actually, a perfect example how I did it for my team is there's 12 weeks in the quarter. If you can bring in $5,000 every week, that's $60,000 right there. Those are just small transactions. 5K is very attainable, like not asking the world from somebody. You mix in a big deal for $40,000, $60,000, $100,000, whatever it is, that's going to be a huge load of that work. But if we can have everybody at a base of $60,000, we're going to be in a fantastic spot. Once you break out things where it's attainable goals, you break it down to a day by day or a week by week thing, you start to realize you stay accountable to these numbers. You're going to look back 10 weeks into the quarter and be like, all right, we're actually in a great spot. We mixed in some larger deals. Like, we're a goal team. We're on track for this stuff. So it's the people who kind of shoot from the hip and don't have a plan going into it, or the people who realize they shot themselves in the foot at the end of the quarter. Mm-hmm. But
so it sounds like you need to be focusing on inputs rather than outcomes.
You have to.
But how often can you, like, give somebody this exact formula of what they need to do and they still, like, don't do it?
I mean, don't do it, or they're trying and not achieving it, or
no, they just, like, let's be honest here, like, you've come home sometimes and you tell someone, like, I told you to do this, and then I ask you at the end of the day, did you do it? And they're like, no, like, I was scared.
That's when you gotta crack the whip.
But, like, you can talk about that, because I think that applies to, like, a lot of different industries, like cold outreach, and how to master that. And, like, I tell you all the time, like, am I annoying this person? And you're like, no, shut up already.
Yeah, no. I think
we can also agree that, like, everything pretty much is sales, whether you're selling a service, like a product, whatever it is.
Influencing.
Everything.
Exactly.
Even is you're selling yourself,
you're
selling
fundraising,
something.
you're selling a product, whatever it is, it's all sales.
So we can apply this to anything.
I'd say, I mean, if you're the thing that I try and do is, like I said, it's very individual coaching. I'm asking different things from everybody different. If I see somebody that's really struggling, and, like, it's the unfortunate part of the business, but, like, I've had to let people go in the past, and, like,
well, you're putting them on a better path for their future.
It sucks, but, like, hopefully that's a better, like, hopefully it works out for everybody in the end. It's a learning experience, whatever. But if you have somebody, I guess, for people who are in a management role, that you're giving attainable goals and they can't meet these things, maybe it's just not a fit. Like, and that's a kind of harsh reality, whether you like the person or not. It's business. Like, for me, I look at it as, my girlfriend's going to be pissed if I'm not bringing home the bacon. So, like, I got to make sure, like, I'm doing what's needed to protect my own pockets. Like, this is a business where everybody's making business decisions. But I try and make it, like, really attainable goals, where it's like, you make it really simple. You know that they can do it. You show them how to do it so that there's no other excuses there. It's like, hey, I've showed you exactly how to do it. Very attainable goals. If you can't meet those, and it starts to become a theme, you gotta go back to the drawing board a little bit. And maybe it's the coaching, maybe something's not landing, but that's something where I always want to make sure, like, people understand what I'm asking, they're capable of doing it, and then setting the goal.
But can you talk more about, like, how do you motivate and instill this confidence in them to, like, continue trying to, like, call their partners, do this, like, nudge, like, talk about that?
That's where I revert back to the little wins of, like, if somebody's not confident in their sales ability, and this happens all the time, like people come into, this is maybe their first sales job. They're like, I watched maybe Wolf of Wall Street one time. I'm kind of fired up from that movie. I think I could be good at sales. And I'm like, okay, like, let's get down into some role playing stuff. Like, I always, that's kind of funny.
Role playing? What the hell's that?
Riley, what are you actually doing at work?
No, but I'm like,
Me and you always
like,
say his little sketch. It's like Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, no, like, if people are nervous to go get on a closing call, for example, I'm like, okay, I'll be the partner. Let's go through this. And we'll go through like a scenario. Yeah.
Any girls on your team?
Just one. But no, I'll go through scenarios and I will throw every objection in the book at them. So I'm like, you just answered all my objections. I know you can go in and kill this call. And like really arm people for success and like
really
also,
build them up.
Yeah, and like I'm on these calls. I'm like, if you fail, like I got your back. Like I'm stepping in. I got it. Like you do great. If I was nervous about you going into this, you wouldn't be the one running the call. Like I'll run it. You're perfectly good. Like we've ran through this a million times. Given you every objection in the book. You're good. But from a day-to-day aspect, I'd say is like people need to see little wins. Like whether it's sales or whether it's in like your everyday life. Like everybody has to-do lists. Like hey, sometimes I go into work and I have a morning meeting every morning at 8:30, and it's specifically setting like goals for each individual member. So I'm like, hey, maybe Kat, your goal is going to be, I need you to bring in this deal, which is worth $6,000 because you're at a proposal phase and I need that one in. Like we need that money, whatever. Gio, you've been a little bit slower on the sales side. I need you to book 2 meetings today. And like it's going to look different, but it's more of like attainable goals where it's like, okay, if you can book 2 meetings today, that's a success. Like let's go. We're coming into our meeting at 5:30, end of the day, wrap things up. Like you had a great day. You did what I asked. And sometimes like that's the little things where you start to see 5 or 6 good days like that where it's like, hey, I hit these little goals. That's going to build up their confidence. They're going to be more confident to do other things that you're asking. So I think it comes down to really individual stuff that's attainable, and it's really just like little things that'll build up people's confidence.
I think that, and sometimes in sales, especially when your income is based on literally how much you're closing, it's hard when you're not seeing the money to see the small wins.
For sure.
But you're right, because everything you are like building and planting a seed, which sometimes it takes, depending on the industry, years to see
for sure
something flourish, or like certain buyers that I've been working for a year and still haven't closed anything, and it's like, okay, the paycheck will hopefully come if they end up closing on something, and then I'll see a big win. But in the moment, sometimes when you don't see the money, it's a little hard.
It's super tough
to appreciate those small little wins. But you're right, we absolutely should be taking note on that. And the attainable goals too, I think it's really interesting because sometimes I feel like I set like too big of a goal, which I think is good to reach really high, but then I'm like, oh, as the quarter goes by, I'm like, maybe I should reevaluate a little bit more realistic.
I think it's
but
good
I don't
to
make it too easy either.
Yeah, no, I think you have to have a couple tiers where it's like you have your super attainable goals, you have like your base goals where it's like, all right, those are pretty attainable, but like I'm gonna have to work for it. And then you have your stretch goals. And like something I do for each of my team is like I do a worst base best for like their specific number that they're calling. I'm like, hey, worst case scenario, what's your number? Like, all right, what's your base? Like gun to your head, what are you bringing me? And what's your best? We'll map out specific plans for each of those ones. So like, hey, in your best case scenario, we're going to have to go cash that $80,000 deal. Like, how are we going to get there? Let's map this out. So it's like...
Is worst 0?
No, if you pull up with 0, you're not on my team.
So how do you deal with the pressure of always being on, and like, do you ever give yourself permission to pause, maybe in personal or work life?
Well, he said he goes on walks.
Do you? No, he doesn't.
Once every couple weeks.
Barely.
I walk like to my boss's office and get some anger out. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
How do you deal with the pressure of always being on in a sales environment? You don't, because you're.
Is it something that comes innately to you?
I mean, to be honest, it's like I feel the pressure of like, all right, if I can't show up for 8 hours for 10 people that are relying on me right now, like I can take a load off when I get home. Like,
Oh, you can?
no, like, yeah. I mean, like, that's
Barely.
no, but that's where it's like,
I'm so happy you feel that.
yeah, like, no, to be honest, like, I very
Come get
much,
the wrath of the day.
no, yeah, I very much try and separate like work and
Oh, you
home.
do?
Like,
I think men are just better at that, to be honest.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's definitely times where like I've gotten a lot of shit off my chest to Kat, and like my job is super. Like, there was a time, it was actually pretty much a year ago from right now. I had just gotten promoted to a manager. I was in my second quarter as a manager with 1 year of sales experience under my belt. Like, had gotten promoted because I had done well as an individual contributor, but I was like, I have never fucking managed people in my life. Like, I have no clue what to do. Now there's other people relying on me for their paychecks. No clue what to do. So I was really trying to overcompensate in a bunch of different areas.
Oh my God.
And I was stressed.
What, are you remembering that time?
No, he would like answer the phone at 9 p.m.
Yeah,
to
I
random
was
people and be on the phone until 11 p.m.
like,
ignoring me.
yeah, and that was like,
And I was like, you don't need to answer anyone at 9 p.m. That works for you.
Yeah, like there was
No one's
there
on
was
fire. No one's buying any tech right now.
There was no off button, like, because I was trying to figure some stuff out. Like,
Looking back at now this is your third year doing this kind of sales, right? Looking back, has there always been a little slump every year?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I wanna say yeah.
I mean, yeah, actually, yeah. Short answer, yeah, absolutely. Like, my
So it's like everyone, I think, has that every single year. Even if you have a great year overall, I just want to make it very known that I think there are still some months where it's not 100.
I think the thing which I really realized this, my dad, for example, he's been in sales for 36 years at the same company.
So
gotta interview him. Gotta see what he thinks.
Yeah, like they
like,
talk about a company guy. That guy is 36
Loyal.
years with the same company, just a company guy. I remember the first time that I was going through like a really bad period where I was like, Dad, like, I can't sell. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, don't know what's going on. I think I'm doing the right things, but like
I need to know the advice.
I'm not seeing yeah. Well, you're not gonna like this answer from him, but like I was basically like, dude, I don't know what's going on right now. Like, I am grinding my ass off right now. I'm doing everything right, like, but I can't catch a deal to save my life.
Wow.
His single reply was, welcome to sales. And I was like, great, thanks for the advice, dude. Like, whatever. But
I think it's a little bit of a reality check. I think sometimes
for sure
we expect things to like always be going good because we're putting in so much effort, and it's
what's
just
the alternative?
no, but
it's just like
to not put in
that's
effort?
life.
yeah,
I feel
but
like
no,
it's,
to, like he did give me some great advice though, of just like, listen, the best thing that you can do is come in level-headed every day and like focus on getting yourself better, especially for me at a time when I was in a brand new industry, came from real estate development, went into tech, didn't know the first thing about tech. I can barely use my iPhone like the way it should be, but like it was, listen, like, you got to give yourself leeway. You got to understand what you're selling. You have to like understand how to work with people. You have to understand negotiation, and like you got to practice a lot, and you got to look at this as like a real time to just get experience.
absolutely.
But it's a marathon, not a sprint. Like,
I agree.
Like sorry.
What are 3 negotiation tips? Because even sometimes when I'm fighting with American Airlines, or he is fighting with American Airlines, I'm like, you gotta do this. And he's like, Kat, I'm in sales. I know what I'm doing. So what are 3 negotiation tips for the listeners that they can use in any aspect of their life?
Wait, can I just make a comment before on what he was saying?
Yeah.
That I think that's great that every single day at least you're building up your skill set, or you're building up your knowledge, and that's something that you can take with you anywhere.
You're either getting 1% better or you're getting 1% worse. Like,
no.
Right. So I think it's great.
Hopefully
Even in
better.
slow time, I think it's a great way to build knowledge, do courses, be open
that's one
to
thing
doing
that
more
I
things.
really push on the people on my team. I'm like, if you have no calls today, like I gather how many calls people have going into each day. If somebody's like, yeah, I got no calls today, I'm like, all right, here's a course. Like, you can go and learn more about this, so you're better equipped the next conversation you have.
Absolutely.
And,
I
like,
think that's a great thing to do during a slow season.
Yeah.
Anyways, we can go back
100%.
to your 3 negotiation tips.
Wait, before that, I have a better question that kind of ties more into this.
Follow up.
When do you think, like, if you're grinding, you're putting in the work, you're putting in the effort, and you're not seeing result, and you're just like unhappy, like, what is the line between this isn't for me and I need to do something else, or like I just like need to keep my head down and keep going?
I mean,
If this was someone on your team coming to you saying this,
if they were evaluating, like, is this for me or not? I mean, one of the things I'd be like, okay, well, what specifically motivates you? Like, why did you want to be in sales? Like, what's your why? Like, I always ask that to people who are brand new on my team. I'm like, what's your why? Like, do you want to be in sales? Do you just say, oh, I think there's a lot of money in sales, so like that's why I want to do it? I think that's a terrible example because there's money in any industry that you want to go into.
so it's your why. I feel like that's your why.
I mean, yeah.
I was like, I think that's my why.
No, to be honest,
I'm like, what the hell's my why?
To be honest, yeah, like I think it's a different why per se. Like, I think sales in general is a skill that, like, for me personally, I want to master, like, being able to sell, because no matter what industry, like, for myself, I want to go into a handful of different industries across the course of my career. Like, I think I don't want to be just stagnant in one specific industry, but I think sales is something you can carry on to anything. I got a taste of real estate when I was fresh out of college. What I learned from that is there's a lot of money to be made in real estate,
yeah.
and I personally, like, I love real estate. I talk about that with you all the time. I think that real estate is really interesting. I saw an opportunity.
It's a great industry. There's lots to do in it. Yeah.
Like a million different avenues.
Yeah.
Like build a golf course.
Yeah, I tell you one of my personal goals is I would love to build a golf course.
Have you
in my
spoken to
lifetime.
Ricky about this?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. Extensively. But that's one of my specific goals personally, is like at some point in my life I want to build a golf course. I'm a golf fanatic, whatever, but it's more of, there's certain things that I like as like a passion. I think the architecture, everything behind it is really cool. But one thing I learned was you either need the knowledge or you need the capital. And like one of the things that I've always wanted is to run my own company. So I was like, I want to learn management skills. I want to understand how to lead a group of people towards a goal, and to be able to do it time and time again.
I see your why.
Yeah, so like
he's like building up.
Exactly.
To then take it to where you want to take it.
I think you give me phony answers sometimes.
No, I saw.
We love this answer.
I saw an opportunity where it was at a company who I networked with somebody who I trust. He led me to this company. I've been able to do great things so far at the company. I think there's a lot more that I can do there. But the main thing was I've gotten in a position early on where I've been able to lead people at an age of 25. Like, I'm leading people who are a lot older than me and a lot younger than me. So like that's given me good experience of just diversity of coaching and everything like that, but leading people so that ultimately I can run a company at some point. I would.
Okay, that's a good why.
Yeah, like I want it to be a real estate company or whatever, but I saw an opportunity to get capital and experience. So that being said, hopefully all goes well here, can have a successful IPO down the road. Like I get some management skills, I can get to a certain level in my career where I'm managing 50 people, maybe 100 people, maybe more than that, where it's like, okay,
you're basically running your own business.
Yeah, like basically if you're managing 50 to 100 people, why can't you go and start a company with 50 to 100 employees? That's great experience. Hopefully, this is the vehicle that like opens up other opportunities where I came here because of a future that, hey, this company could go public, you can do a lot of things, and it's very fast growing. There's a lot of opportunity for you to rise up the ranks. And I was like, okay, phenomenal. My whole goal was, all right, I'm going to spend however many years here, ideally less than like $1 million, but like hopefully like 5 years, 6 year window where I go and get a ton of experience. Ideally there's an IPO at the end of that so that it gives me capital to go and do the things that I really want to do, which is start a business, which is go and invest in like developing real estate and go in that type of thing. And great I think business. I was going to say, I think I'm sitting next to two good people to be able to do that. So that was more of my why. Is I had a longer term vision where it's like, hey, I'm going to go here, 2 birds, 1 stone. I hopefully get a lot of capital out of this, and I get a lot of experience out of this, which is going to give me into my next endeavor, which could be something wildly different. I could have a plan to do something now. It could be extremely different from when that happens. But yeah, that was pretty much, I mean, that's my why.
Thank you.
That was like really nice and deep.
Yeah.
So what are the 3 negotiation tips?
Never speak first.
Not my cough.
Yeah, I mean.
I'm like, you know what? I need your help.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know sometimes I need to like let go of the deal.
Yeah.
But I've been really trying to hold on to this deal.
Yeah,
trying
no,
to
I'd
make
say-
it work.
no,
So I'm like, my mom would have left it a month ago. She was like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't give a fuck about the ego. I was like, I want to like not only make the sale, but like it would be a win for the seller. He's selling it. A win for my buyer who's been looking for a year.
Yeah.
Win for me because I get paid. Win for everyone.
Yeah.
And then it's like when
There's power
I
in
usually
pulling
let
back.
go, but like
There's a lot of power in pulling back.
no, the
Like,
guy has total leverage.
Yeah.
I showed him all my cards.
Yeah, the second you lost control of the driver's seat, you gotta go and reevaluate.
I lost control. This
Yeah,
is
but
why it's
we've-
not going through.
We've talked about this before, and you say there's power in pulling back, but only after, like, have I done every single possible
I
thing
think-
that I
yeah.
can, right?
I mean,
Isn't that
there's a
what you
time.
say?
When, yeah, like if you've exhausted everything, where it's like, all right, you know that this is a good deal, like whether it's real estate or whatever industry you're in, like you've made it so both sides, this is a good deal. There's no other objections really of why they wouldn't do this. They're
Just
just
the
coming
seller
up
being
with
an asshole.
yeah, just coming up with BS
Been there.
excuses. It's like, okay, then I'm
And I
probably
represent
just going to
the
be
sellers.
run around this circle for a long time, and it's not worth my time and energy. I'm going to pull back, and like if they want it, if they really wanted to make a deal, they'll come and do it. Like if they don't, and they were just price shopping or whatever it is, like whatever the scenario is,
Wait,
it wasn't worth it in the long run anyway.
I know.
But like,
so what was the tip here? It was to know when to pull back?
yeah, I mean like.
So when do you
it's-
know when to pull back?
Yeah, I think it really depends. Scenario, like I can't really speak on like a real estate transaction. I can speak
Okay,
about
no,
like
I
my
mean,
own.
obviously that was my case, but
Yeah.
I'm saying in
I'd say
general,
once
when
you-
do you know to like let go of this sale?
Once you've done all the work that you can do, like for example, if you handle all of their objections, you've gotten to a point where it's like negotiating wise, you're within their budget, you're within your budget, like within margins and everything, and it makes sense, but you just see them coming up with all these different little objections, just pulling shit out just because, that's kind of screaming something else of like, you know what, they're talking themselves out of buying right now.
Yeah, they're like not
there's
serious.
only
They're
so
not
much
yeah.
exactly. There's only so much time and energy that I can put into this.
Absolutely.
And once you start to feel that of like I am doing way more than I need to
Absolutely.
get this deal, pull back. Like get out of there. It's not worth your time and energy because all of that extra time and energy could be spent going to prospect a new customer that might be double that sale. Like you really never know, and that's the fun thing, but also the scary thing about sales is like you feel like it's the end of the world if you lose a deal. The deal starts when they say no. That's exactly like when I want to get to is disqualifying deals. Like I think the best thing when what I teach my reps and like what I go through is I'm not looking for a yes, I'm looking for every no. Like so that's where it's like if I can answer every reason why they wouldn't do this deal, now I have a deal. Like so that's where it's like I don't know. There's perfect examples.
Okay, Donald Trump.
No, like
the art of the deal.
No, but there's perfect examples where
I like that.
I look through every time, and I have to remind my reps of like, dude, like you've gotten on 4 calls, which are just going over pricing with this guy. He's either shopping around and not serious about it, or like he's just talking himself out and he's not gonna buy it.
Why
Like,
is he your mom right now?
like just get like literally just get out of there. It's not worth your time and energy. You're gonna go nuts.
Well, I gave this guy a deadline tonight, and
Good. So after that
It's
deadline,
just-
but that's the
I
thing
have
is like,
to move on.
but that's the thing. If you gave yourself a deadline,
I gave myself a
Cut
deadline.
it,
The thing
like-
is, like, we keep coming back because we have no options. But in this case,
but
I'm like,
okay, but that's the cycle. Like,
I'm like, please, I'm giving you everything at this point. And the guy still won't take it. He's just not serious. He's not a serious seller in my case. And
Yeah.
if he was like a serious seller, I'd be like, all right, let's get
serious
the deal
sellers
done.
wants to
You
get
know,
some
like,
shit done.
They'd be
Yeah,
like, okay, like you have a willing, ready, and able cash buyer.
and like I'll say that like that's not for every example, but like because there's times where some people just genuinely need to be talked into it a little bit more. Like that's the art of selling, like being able to sell.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be easy.
I think it's also, I mean, in this case, I'm working with an off market, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sort of already like trying to get the person to sell, and they don't really want to sell.
Yeah.
So I guess also it's, to go off of like knowing when to let go is also like this person's already not really down to sell. So it's like put your energy and your eggs in a basket where like you might get a better return.
Like in an ideal world, what would be your price to sell this property? Like you get, like if I bring you this offer, what would be a yes on spot right now? If you can't meet that, then it's like, all right, then is this feasible? One, if it's not, then like, all right, not going to waste my time on this. If it is, you spend X amount of time trying to get that offer. If it doesn't happen, then like let it go. Come back to it.
No, we've come back. It's been 4 months. We're done.
Yeah.
Like we're done. We're letting
go. So your
go.
deadline was tonight. If he doesn't meet it, get out of there.
Kick to the curb. And no property for my buyers. Want. Okay.
But that's foreign territory. So don't maybe not take that advice quite literally.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Generally speaking, it's like knowing when to pull back.
Yeah.
And also like maybe not putting all your eggs in like a specific. I don't know, I'm thinking like maybe a brand deal. If you have a product and you want like, I don't know, Target to sell it, and maybe they're not your person to sell it. Maybe you should sell it at Publix. So you know what I mean? Like just 100%. Like knowing like who to work with and at what point to let go.
It's got to be a right fit for both sides.
Exactly. What's your second negotiation tip and third? We really went off on the first one.
Well, I think we said pull back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looking
no one to pull back.
Looking for the no and answer. Can you answer all the objections?
Okay.
And make sure
Anything
it's good
else?
on both sides.
I mean, the best deal, I mean, that we like, at least for being in a corporate role, is like, all right, you want a deal that works well for you, works well for the other person, and works well for the company.
Those flow.
Yeah, like for sure. I'd say, I mean, one of my favorite things is.
Not you grinning.
No, because I'm thinking of examples right now, which are just funny because I don't really sit back and like reflect on certain examples like too often. But people overspeak way too much when they're way too much.
I like that you bring this up.
That's actually a great negotiation tactic. Is like wait for them to.
That's why I said my first thing that I said was never speak first. Like
also like no one likes an awkward silence, so if you like wait just long enough, someone's gonna go and say
I'm like sitting up in my seat, I'm fired up about this. I'm like, let's go, we're talking deals right now. No, like for example, there's a kid on my team. He is like works his ass off, but I'm like, yo, you gotta stop talking so much. Like
it's true.
Like you gotta stop talking because you're giving them more information to chew on that's going to delay this process. Like you need to tell them, hey, this is what we've proposed. From what you've said, this lines up with your budget, this lines up with everything. Like, do we have a deal here?
You'd be surprised when you talk too much. Like you're giving the person too much information, they can bring it back later.
Somebody will be like, well, we went through all this and this and this, and like you said this, so it's a good deal here and all this, and like they just keep over talking, and it's like, yo, like maybe limit it to like 10 words and then pull back and let him give you the objections, because or like her or whatever, whoever it is, you're talking to a board. Like when you just present the facts, it's an awkward silence and everybody wants to fill up the silence because they're like, oh, this is scary.
It's like who's gonna say something first and who's gonna give in something first, and it's like
wait that awkward silence out. I don't care if it's a minute, like wait that out until they speak. That's where I think a lot of people start to create friction in the deal by just overcomplicating it.
I would love to see you in this setting, because it's in this type of setting, I think one of the hardest things for me to have learned, and maybe you, is that like you can't be so like warm and friendly and like yourself.
You gotta be a goddamn shark.
But like you do sort of need to be yourself, because that's when people
nice, but you can't be warm and like. To
be honest,
I think like in times you can.
To be honest, you gotta flip the switch.
But I feel like
there's a time for building the relationship. No, there's a time for building the relationship, and then there's a time for locking it in and going and getting your bag.
I feel like trust building is like the showing, like like you're getting like oh, I love your shirt, I love it. You're like really building a connection with the person, and then later it's like, oh, they sent you an offer, and now like
shit just got real. Shit just got real. No, 100%. Like that's, I mean, in any sales aspect, you have to be able to build relationships and like be that warm and fuzzy person. But then there's the other side where you got a number to hit and you got to go and like be about your money. So I'd say there's a point once you start talking financials and really starting to get into business, like you got to put on your business hat. Yeah. And like really get down to it.
My mom always says like, don't talk, you're talking too much. You're overextending yourself. Yeah. Don't write that too much. Like be to the point.
Yeah. I'm like, are you sure?
I'm like, but part of me's like, I feel bad.
It's so right.
She's like, don't explain yourself. Be to the point. Like even with this dumbass guy who I'm working with right now, she's like, don't email him again. Don't text him again. I'm like, are you sure it's like Tuesday night? Like, should I just like check in to see if he's gonna get back to me tonight? Because today's my deadline. She's like, no, he knows when you guys want to hear back. He knows.
And I feel like, to be honest, that's a tough thing for like, when you're in real estate, there's only so many transactions. Like I feel like fewer and far between.
I'm holding this one back.
Yeah, and that's where like, for me, I get to see that at a much quicker rate because of like the amount of transactions we're doing. So I'm like,
for you,
I would love to go from this role into like a real estate role because like,
you're Riley. I know you do amazing, but I think going from this to that, you'd go fucking bananas.
Oh, I'd go crazy.
You'd be
I never plan on doing it.
To see
no, I never plan on doing it in my life. Like that. That's
you're like, I'm gonna go into real estate when I'm like developing and I'm investing in it. It's a different avenue for sure.
No, 100%. But I'm just saying like, it would be, I feel like, much easier from that type of thing where it's like you get so many transactional sales out of the way where you know a lot more on objection handling, like working the deal and whatever, where it's really tough.
It's also
when you
like,
start off in a real estate position because there's only so many opportunities that you get. Like, I'd say like to build up that as like practice and like go through that. So it's like, I'm just basically, the point is I'm saying like it's really tough to go into a position like that when you don't have sales experience.
Yeah, and also like I think it's just different. Like, I get it from someone's business perspective, but tech is also just way less emotional than somebody buying a home.
Absolutely,
you know?
Absolutely.
I know what you're gonna say. I don't know what you're gonna say, but
I disagree.
People's businesses, this is like their livelihood. You have to like make them spend money on something.
I disagree from my specific example because I'm selling to guys where their business is their entire life. Like, it's not like I'm selling to a corporation. You're trying to convince them
to spend more money.
I'm selling to mom and pop type of business shops. Like, so this one is like, I just took out a small business loan for this. Like, I just cashed in my 401k where I'm like, oh, I kind of feel bad about this one.
No, that's definitely, I get that. But it also depends, like, in our case, it depends what kind of real estate you're buying. Like, if you are solely a commercial broker, like, it is way colder, and it's the numbers gotta make sense. Residential, you know, on average, people buy a house every 13 years. Like, no, seriously, like, they buy a house, they live there forever. Yeah. Then when they sell it, it's like, oh, but this is my home.
Yeah.
Or you're buying, I want to make sure I'm buying
low. No, that's so true. That's so true. I didn't really think of it like that.
There are obviously people who buy a lot more than that, but generally speaking, every 13 years, that buyer is going to buy something honestly. And then sell and move to upgrade or whatever.
Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense.
And it's like where they're growing up and their kids are going to grow up and where they like raised this and where they had Christmas and dinner. So like it's like, yes, that's a mom and pop. Like those people are going home to their home.
Yeah. They're going home to their home. Do they need somebody?
Do they need somebody? Exactly.
Yeah. Is it in Florida?
This turned into a sales episode.
But it wasn't at the point.
No, the point was to like talk about
what to do when you're not selling.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Well, I was gonna say like
we covered the topic.
Work on your damn craft.
Looking back, like, can you share a time where, upon reflection, you feel like when it was slow, you were actually laying down a foundation, and now you're like picking up the seeds?
I'm gonna actually challenge you to change it from sales to maybe baseball.
You just lost the listeners.
No, just like give them a tip. What if someone's an athlete listening to this? Like maybe they're not in fucking sales. I don't know.
I just feel like, a lot of okay, but like if you're a personal trainer, like if you're an athlete, aren't you like trying to like sell your skills to like a team to buy you? Like in a way, like aren't you always trying?
Yeah, why did anyone buy you, babe?
I'm wondering that question every day.
No, but I mean, like athletes go through ruts where you're like pitching like ass. Like, what do you do?
Of course.
Oh my god, you guys.
Oh. Or like a model or an actress who's like going to multiple auditions are saying no.
I mean, today I played ass tennis.
But I guess maybe I'm confused on the question.
Yeah, I know. Just we're not giving you scenarios.
Like we got athletes, we got models in there. Like I don't really know what the question was.
Repeat the question. You can apply it however you want.
Okay. If you're in
the question.
From my understanding.
Wait, you asked a different question. Oh no, you just said apply it to baseball. No, I'm just saying, like, looking back at a time when it was slow, do you realize upon reflection that was you building the foundation, which like now you're reaping the benefits? Like, yeah, last year March was slow.
Yes.
But like look at me now.
Absolutely.
Without that, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Absolutely. I think, and I'll touch on the athlete example because that happens every off season. That's literally what your off season is for.
And you can either like use it to get better, or
you can either
use it
to your advantage. Or,
that's a great example, you guys.
I was literally about to say that. I was going to say you could use it to your advantage, or you could use it to drink 30 beers with your buddies every day. Like,
That's a great thing because you're not actually playing games. You're not winning. You're not feeling
Exactly.
like the rush of your
Yeah.
sport.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's like, oh, this is like not recess, like vacay.
Recess.
And then it's like, oh fuck, actually, I forgot I have to like lock it in, and like my whole like career depends on this in a few months. But it's hard again to see that when it's not your reality in that very moment.
Yeah, I'd say
Your future self, which is
I'd say
for last week.
I'll give one for both examples, I guess. From a selling aspect,
Keeping you on your toes.
I'm like, this
Yeah.
is a short episode.
Yeah, Gina's like, we're not going to talk for 30 minutes.
Yeah. No, from a selling aspect, when I started,
Forgot we have
I
Riley
met my
here.
Leo boyfriend.
when I started at the company that I'm at now, I had networked with some of the most like. I basically saw all the people who were selling the most, and I was like, all right, let me get 30 minutes on your calendar. Just started networking with a bunch of people, and I was like, what is making you so successful? Like, how do you put these numbers up every quarter? It started boiling back into the same thing. Like, take care of people, do the things right on a daily basis, like take care of their needs, be there for their support, like everything. And it's kind of like a therapist role, and really build the relationships first, and then you'll see the sales. Like, the sales are going to be 10 times easier. If you start going out just trying to sell everything and trying to be the man selling, it's not sustainable for a long-term relationship.
But in our industry, a lot of the times you do that and you try to be a really nice person and you always get fucked over. I don't regret being a good person.
We can break that down a little bit.
It's like you help someone. That, oh, actually, I ended up going with somebody else because it's like my uncle's gay best friend who needed some money instead of you because you already have money.
I mean,
you know.
But like,
you know the vibe.
Yeah, I feel like I don't even know what to say to that one, honestly. Like, I mean, then it probably wasn't a fit to begin with, and you just got to move on and like go find another opportunity. Like, that's where you can't get stuck on stuff that like, yeah, this like X, Y, and Z happened, and yeah, they went with somebody else. It's like, all right, you're in sales, go chase your next opportunity. Go get back go get back to the drawing board and like maybe evaluate why they didn't go with you. Maybe evaluate like what could you have done differently. And that's where it's like, after every sale that goes right or every sale that goes wrong, evaluate what you could have done better. And like, that's how you can keep working on your craft. Like,
and don't take it personal.
You never take it personally.
Oh yeah, that's a great one that we forgot to mention.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe that's a negotiation one too. Well, not negotiation, I guess, but like just deal management in general.
Just
you start taking deals personally, you're gonna get real upset a lot.
So, how do you handle the pressure to be on all the time?
I asked him this already.
Yeah.
How come I forgot this? You guys.
Yeah.
It's okay, but we did answer that exact question.
Yeah, no,
earlier.
I did. I remember that.
Well, you can talk about the baseball example now if you want, because you didn't get to it.
No, I mean, for the baseball example, you're in off season every season, and it's like the people who have specific goals and whatever they need to do. Maybe you got to throw on 15 pounds. Maybe you got to lose 15 pounds. Like what? Yeah, whatever. No, for me specifically, when I was playing college baseball, I was always on the small, like skinnier side, and there was one year. Maybe have gone a little bit overboard on that one, but I needed to gain like probably 15 pounds, and I gained like 25. It wasn't the greatest way to do it, but that was one where like I went into an off season with specific goals, and I came back that next season and it was a lot better. Like, because I literally just dedicated my entire off season to being like, all right, I'm getting to work because I know this is going to pay off for this season. But I saw a lot of people and played with a lot of people who were phenomenal athletes, and they didn't do the things needed to do, and it all caught up with every single one of them. Like, if you're not working on yourself every day, it's gonna come out in other ways. You might be really successful now, and like, it's, I guess, like, sad to see, but I hope it goes out for like better learning experiences. But like, people who had silver platters because they were always naturally gifted, but they didn't put in the work on the other end. The people who were really, I guess, not great athletes but worked their ass off, it was great for them in the long run. And obviously, like, Dunzo, for example, shout out Dunzo, one of my best friends, hardest working kid I've ever met in my life. Wasn't the most gifted athlete as just like a natural athlete. He's really good, but there was always people where they were talking about other people. This kid would go in his backyard, go to the gym, grind his ass off every opportunity that he could get. He is way past a lot of like other people who everybody was like, oh, that kid's going to be the man, that kid's going to be the greatest. this kid just steadily worked his ass off year over year, and he's doing much better than the rest of them. So it's like,
yeah, it's like what we always say, choose your heart. Like, okay, yeah, in your off season you could either like go have fun, go on vacation with your friends for however many months, which in turn will be harder when you return back to whatever sport you play. Or you can just like continue to grind through those months and then like show up to preseason like feeling good and like not stressed out or
100%.
I think also like at the end of the day, like as maybe annoying this sounds, like it always can't be perfect. Yeah. You know what I mean? No. Like we can't always be like selling or just like, I think that the ebbs and flows is what makes this actually like an experience and what makes us grow and what makes us like be able to be like, oh wow, we got past that. Yeah. But look at how well we're doing now. And because of that experience, I've, you know, come up with better ways, or I've like adjusted my, whatever, the way that I work, or I've added more to my pipeline. Like you can always go back and see that as another step towards, you know, building up. And it's just like what makes this like,
yeah, I
the experience of being better. Like imagine if you were always good. It's like,
and it's like,
you know, you wouldn't learn anything, and
exactly, you wouldn't really grow from that. You're just like, oh, okay.
I think a lot of people too. Like one thing is, especially like people our age, I think is like a lot of people already think like they got life by the balls, kind of like they have all this experience. No, but like, and some people are absolutely killing it, but like also people don't put the emphasis on like, you still need to be learning every single day. Like you still need to understand, like even if you had a deal that went phenomenal, okay, what can I learn from that so I can repeat it another time? If it went absolutely to shit, like what did I learn from that so I don't repeat it again?
Well, and it's like, the same ways. Sorry,
but it's really just all about learning. Like,
because also it's the same ways like when we have those highs and we have those great sales and we make a lot of money, it's like great, but that also doesn't last forever. Yeah. The same way that the lows don't last forever. Exactly. So it's both don't last forever. Yeah. Which is a good reminder 100%. To end this episode on.
Yeah. Ask him our last question.
Riley, what is your homework, which is an actionable tour tip that we can give our listeners, and advice that will think that, God damn it, that they can thank themselves.
That their future selves will for later.
I'd say
it doesn't have to be sales.
No. It wasn't going to be sales. Like one of the things that I think the greatest thing for everybody to do and just like best practice of their everyday life is like give yourself attainable goals every day, and so you can see little wins come across. Where it's like whether it's in your work week, whether it's in your daily life, like whether it's like, hey, go to the gym, write in a journal, or like buy my girlfriend flowers. I don't know what it is. Like,
what's your favorite way to celebrate a win?
Eat.
Honestly, yeah.
Coco.
yeah. Literally go to Coco and get the skirt steak.
Golf.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Obviously, treat myself to golf.
I never take your girlfriend out to dinner, hang out with your
that's good. That's hand in hand. Come on now. You're trying to get me in trouble over there.
Honestly, he like doesn't celebrate his wins, which is actually kind of good.
It's also
because I feel like there's nothing to celebrate too much right now.
I also feel like when you close a deal, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I feel like I've made it and can go celebrate when I build my golf course at some point. Like, okay, that's when I'll be like, all right, we're popping bottles. Like when I buy my first house or something like that. Like, but as far as wins right now,
buy your first house. What about like marry your girlfriend?
Well, yeah, but.
Well, that definitely will have a celebration.
That's gonna be like, I've already told you our wedding is gonna be like the greatest fucking banger of all time. I mean, it's hard to follow up Gio and Ricky's, but
we won't. I've already told her this.
It's such a lie.
But no, like it's important to treat yourself. Like one thing I used to always do was like I'd take myself out to dinner after like a long day. When I was working at my last job, I would go mentally beat up, and I'd be like, dude, like I owe it to myself. Let me go buy dinner, and I'd go and sit at Blue Ribbon over in Miami Beach, just at the bar, and I'd get a tequila on the rocks, and I'd get a couple sushi rolls, and I'd be like, let me treat myself. Like I'm working my ass off, and you can't be so hard on yourself. And I think that's why I don't celebrate the wins too often, is because like I've gotten to a point where I think I've been able to manage my stress so much where I don't look at like these wins is like, oh, we need to go celebrate this, or like these lows is like
exactly. So
like, and that's where it's like I've maintained a steady balance. So like, I don't know, like I look at all this as experience.
So
I haven't hit a point where I deserve hitting a point. I haven't hit a point where I think I deserve a massive celebration, but I think it's important to celebrate little wins here and there. But whatever you want to do.
Cool, you guys.
He says that he's not stressed, but in the middle of the night, he's talking about sales every single night.
I have some crazy dreams, honestly.
Wow.
So,
This is a reminder, you guys, that it's okay to be quiet. It's okay to pause, and stillness and slowness could be a strategy too.
you can take life by the balls in silence.
That's a
Wow.
fact, honestly. A lot of people do.
Mic drop.
Guys, share this episode with someone who's in their in-between, in their off-season right now, preparing for their on-season. What's the on-season?
Summer.
No, but like, what's the opposite of off-season?
Grind, hustle.
All right, grind, hustle.
All right, guys, thank
Let's
you so much
go.
for listening. Riley, thank you so much for
Thanks,
coming
Riley.
on.
Hell yeah, thanks
So
for
much
having me, guys.
value. Ciao, bye, you guys.
Ciao, bye.
Peace out.